All right. Welcome, everybody, to this client call all about nutrition. This is really just going to be a conversation. Here's the thing. Ashlyn is also a coach who is co-hosting this call tonight. And I think she would agree that we can help clients get started with fitness any day of the week. But it's always the nutrition piece that makes or breaks the pride and the progress and the success in your heart as a woman. Our relationship with food is such a fickle thing. And until we really recognize it as the huge growth process that it needs to be, then we're just holding ourselves back. So I just wanted to open the conversation and introduce you. I know there's clients from all different sort of groups on here. And I just thought, let's hear each other's stories, share some top tips, answer some questions. And if even one woman on here has a little bit of a nutritional breakthrough, has like something in their belly that says like, oh, I'm going to give this a bigger shot. I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to like really be vulnerable in my own growth process with my relationship with food, like, then that would be a huge, huge win, because I've seen firsthand when a woman has a breakthrough in this space, it can change a whole household. So thank you for being here tonight. I am going to kick it off with Ashlyn. She's going to share a little bit about her story and her 5 top tips with nutrition. And maybe I'll interrupt and ask some questions, or if you have questions, please drop them in the chat, and we'll go from there. So Ashlyn, welcome to the call.
Hey everyone. So I'm Ashlyn, and honestly, I completely agree with what Courtney said. When I first signed up, I said to my coach, oh no, I don't need nutrition. Like, I know what to do. I don't need it. And because it's the hardest part, right? As hard as it is to convince ourselves to press play sometimes in the morning, actually committing to learning a nutrition program and wanting to do it and feeling like we have to change everything in our lives is the scariest part. I struggled with nutrition for my entire life, as long as I remember. I mean, I even remember being a kid, like eating the cookie dough from my babysitter's, kitchen when she went off to the washroom. Like all my life, I remember feeling like I had to hide what I was doing with food and always wanting more than what I was supposed to have. And I did Weight Watchers for more than a decade, obsessing over points and always thinking over food and unsure of what I should eat and feeling like there were so many things that I was just never going to get to enjoy again in my life, which is not a great way to feel. Sorry, my fan's on. I'm just going to turn it off in case there's noise from that. Okay. And so even when I was doing well, even when I was losing weight, I was obsessing in my head. I never felt that kind of freedom in my mind. And I would, kill it during the week. And then the weekend would come and I would try to overcompensate by eating all the fruits and veggies and nothing else so that I could have all of the bad things. And I think we all know that that's just not the balance that leaves you feeling good in your body, in your gut, in your mind all the time. Before I started this, I was at my darkest place. I weighed in at 245 pounds. I was miserable in my skin. I had zero energy. I couldn't play with my kids the way that I wanted to. I was snappy. I was impatient. I was negative. I was so restless because I wasn't sleeping, because I was just putting so much garbage into my body. And I could just go on and on about how I felt back then, because it's wild to me, the difference, how I actually feel now. But I had just lost hope in myself. I truly thought that nothing would ever work for me. I thought that I knew what to do and I just wasn't capable of it. And it's a really, really terrible way to feel that way, to just feel like you are stuck in the bad and you can't get out and you can't do it. And I thought that the way that I knew and the way that I had been trying to lose weight and feel good my entire life was the only way. And it wasn't until I started to try Portion Fix that I really actually realized how simple it was. And I think, like everyone else, I was really intimidated at first by the tiny little containers and the idea of having to figure something out. You almost feel like you can't eat anything because you don't know what you are supposed to have or not. But I found it so quick and so easy to learn. Like, it truly is, you take the food, you put it in the container, you dump it on your plate. And having a clear-cut guideline of like, have this much protein, have this much veggies, it was like liberating. I found it so easy compared to everything I tried before in my entire life. It was so much food. I was never hungry, and I was feeling really good in my skin, really good in my body. But it wasn't easy, because when you have a lifetime of binge eating, of overeating, of, those negative thoughts, that all or nothing mindset, it's hard to overcome all of that, everything that you have known your entire life. So, of course, in the last 2 years, there's been a lot of ups and downs, mainly, the holidays, all of that temptation, being at mom's house with all the food and all the treats. And what I have done though is continue to reset through all of that. Last summer, I had lost about 75 pounds at that point. So it was my first year. Everything was going great. The weight was just melting off my body and I was feeling really good. But I think for myself, at least, the summer is always the most tempting and the hardest season of life for me for, nutrition, for sticking on track with everything that I know really makes me feel good. So last summer, I just got lost. I got lost in the YOLO, in the treats, in the White Claws in the backyard. And I not only lost myself, but I gained 25 pounds and nothing was feeling good. And the fact that I was eating so much and eating so much crap and drinking so much, like I was starting to feel that way that I was feeling before I had even joined Beachbody and made all these changes in the first place. Sluggish. I wasn't sleeping well. My stomach was always upset. And even though I was working out 6 days a week, the scale was going up and my clothes weren't fitting anymore, which is just a testament to how big of a deal nutrition is. But I think, like all of us that have maybe done this yo-yo and this up and down over and over and over again in your lives, like I have, the second that you start to see yourself sliding back into those habits that don't serve you, you start to think to yourself, here I go again. I am about to just undo everything. I'm about to ruin everything. Like, this is just what I do. This is how I am. Here I go again. This is it. Right. And then you get so hard on yourself and you want to undo all of the bad that you've done, that you try and double up. And I have to be perfect on nutrition and I can't ever have a drink and I can't ever have a treat and I can't have anything. And I think that we all know that that lasts about 5 seconds because it's so intimidating that you just can't do it, right? You can't be that restrictive with yourself. So, through all of that, I was having a huge crisis of confidence in myself and how I was feeling. And coming off of summer, if any of you are feeling like that, like, know that you are not alone, and that it is possible to rebound and bounce back from that, because a year later, I have now lost that weight again, which is honestly the least of my concerns at this point. But I feel the best that I've ever felt. And I've managed to go through summer and I've actually been sober for a year. And I have not had any moments of feeling like I had to binge this summer. I enjoyed the ice cream with my girls. I enjoyed the barbecues. And I did it in a way that, through continually just resetting and working on this nutrition and focusing on giving my body the good things, I could add in those fun summer things without that feeling of needing to binge. So I think one of the most important things in this for me has been surrounding myself with other women that I know are constantly working on themselves and being honest about having, those kinds of backslide days, or the day where you feel like you need to dive into the pantry, and seeing other women who also struggle like me, who have also found success. I mean, Courtney being one of them, watching her, talk about trying to overcome the binge eating and still seeing such success. That was so motivating to me, to see that it was still possible while I was continuing to work on myself. And so 2 years of really intentionally resetting, like honestly, as many times as possible, and following that nutrition program. And, I don't need to tell you how to do the nutrition program. We all have access to that in BOD, under nutritions, in the app, right? It's not about that. But I think what's the really important thing is to know that there are so many people out there, people that have seen a lot of success in, weight loss and their health and fitness and feeling good like I have, that also have these moments and these backfalls, right, in nutrition, and the ups and downs. And the fact that if you keep on going and if you keep being intentional and focus on how you want to feel, that you can get past feeling that way. And I think that that kind of hope is magic when it comes to this and when it comes to making those changes, because it doesn't really matter if it's been a few days or a few weeks, or even if it's been a few months where you felt out of control and off track, and maybe you're hiding, maybe you're not answering your coach's messages, maybe you're not checking into the group that you're watching and you're hoping to get back onto it yourself. You can reset as many times as you need, because you know how good you can feel, and we're all here to support you, any one of us. Me, myself, I'm sure I'll have my moments again, but I'm going to keep resetting every single day, every single month, every year, as long as I have to. And I said this in another group that I spoke to, feeling good is my goal weight. It's not about a number on the scale anymore. It's about waking up in the morning, feeling good.
I love that.
Yeah. So,
okay, a couple things really hit home. Feeling good is my goal weight. That's powerful. A couple things really hit home for me. The whole reset thing, I think so many women are hard on themselves when they fall off the wagon. And the whole hitting reset as a success, like as a barometer of success, is such an incredible shift that I made at one point in my journey that has really, really helped me. Like, instead of your weekend binge feeling like a failure, have that Monday reset be the win, right? And Sarah Best on our call talked about this, is like, new habits take practice. They don't take time. Like, of course you have to reset every single Monday. Of course you have to continue to practice implementing these healthy ways of eating, because it's not your lifestyle. And you've had years and years and years and years of poor eating habits that are ingrained in you and that feel comfortable and that feel like the path of least resistance. So if your goal is to live a healthy lifestyle and eat incredible whole foods, that's going to take years and years of practice. And I really resonate with what Ashlyn said, was that the reset is the most powerful tool. And I think a lot of times in our client groups, women disappear when they fail, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to sign up, I'm going to do the 21-day fix. And they show up for 6 days and then you don't see them again because they've failed. But if only you guys knew how many times we've all failed. Like, I have failed a million quadrillion times. It's just I keep getting back up and I keep hitting reset, just like Ashlyn said. I want to touch on a couple other things about Portion Fix. Ashlyn mentioned Portion Fix and how it really like changed things for her in terms of like learning about nutrition. And I truly believe that when I started Portion Fix, I was all in. And that's just the type of personality I am. I do all in really well. I also did all in really well with drugs or with, different addictions. That's just my personality. So I think as in my early days as a coach, I couldn't always understand why a client couldn't go all in on the meal plan. Like, just do 3 weeks for you, follow this exactly to the plan. Like, you'll see results. Like, what's the problem? And I can be a little bit, harsh, like I didn't understand. But looking back, it's just not possible for some people, right? Some people are going to be slow and steady wins the race. Some people are able to go all in and really see results. All people can learn from the program. The program is about learning and taking the tools and implementing it into a long-term lifestyle. I lost 100 pounds using Portion Fix, and I used it so specifically, but I hadn't done a lot of that mindset work yet. I hadn't made a lot of real changes in my heart and in my relationship with food. And so since losing that weight, the real work has begun. I've talked a lot about, different books that I've read along the way. And honestly, one thing that has sat with me and resonated more than anything else was from the book Food Freedom Forever. And it was the Worth It list. And it talks a lot about like, okay, so say you decide you want to do Portion Fix. That's great. You should do it for 30 days all out, not to lose weight, not to see results, but to feel your baseline. Because when you feel what your body can feel like with 30 days of incredible nutrition, not restriction, incredible nutrition, right? It's like eat bread, make sure it's whole grain, right? Like, use salad dressing, make sure there's no added sugar in it, right? It's those little things that is actually really teaching you how to eat properly. And and if you can switch your mindset from it being a diet to it being a nutrition course, a nutrition program, then you'll get the most out of it. If you can go a step further and commit to that 30 days of learning, you're going to change your life. Okay. Once you've done your 30 days of learning, then it's time to start implementing moderation, which is where everybody just thinks that they're a big yo-yo in life. So the thing that I read in this book that like hit home with me more than anything was the worth it list. And it's the concept that everybody, all of us have a list of things that should be worth it. It doesn't matter if there's added sugar or if they're bad for your belly, right? Like for me, it's like holiday dinners, right? Like I'm always going to eat the stuffing and the mashed potatoes and the gravy. Like I'm not making your fucking sweet potato casserole. I'm sorry. Like I'm eating the mashed potatoes and gravy, you know? Like holiday dinners are always worth it for me. Like my kid's birthday cake, like I'm going to have a slice of cake. Movie theater popcorn, I love. A glass of wine when I'm out for dinner with friends. Like actually even that is sort of sneaking its way off my worth it list as the headaches sneak in my older years, but you know, a list of things that really feel worth it for you. And so then once you've established that list, write a list on the other side of things that are not worth it. And this was the most powerful shift for me because a lot of my failures or deep ends were things like fruit snacks from the cupboard, goldfish, cookies, chips, McDonald's, like really shitty shit. And they're not worth it, right? Because I want to feel incredible. I want to change my lifestyle. I want to do this, right? I still want to enjoy life. But our mind tricks us when we're in the McDonald's drive-through for our kids, thinking like, I have to be able to live life. Like I can't live it, you know, and you trick yourself into thinking that that's okay. And then you instantly don't feel good, right? So when I made this list of worth it things and not worth it, it just gave me permission to enjoy those special dinners or those special vacation meals or whatever it was, completely guilt-free, knowing that I understood the difference between worth it and not worth it. And that was a really, really powerful shift for me. Oh, you've barely cracked it. It's so good. It is so good. And they use the whole food, the Whole 30 as their example, but it goes hand in hand. Like Whole 30 is gut protocol. It's the same thing. So if you are interested in reading this book and really doing it to a T, just you can interchange gut protocol. It's already at your fingertips there. Ashlyn, you want to dive into some of your tips? So I told Ashlyn today, why don't we brainstorm a couple top tips of things that have helped you over the years? Because if there's somebody that's like brand new to one of our communities that's joining tonight, that's like struggling, thinks this is hard, like no shit, Sherlock, like buckle up for a long bunch of years ahead if you're committed to growing in your nutrition, because that's what we've really done. And I think that's one of like the most powerful messages, right? Is that we've both invested years and years and years into this learning. So it's a lifelong journey. But I also think we have some tips that we could share that maybe might be an aha moment for someone on the call today.
Yeah, so I think I do some things different. I think that we are very similar on our struggles, but we do things quite differently. I mean, I've always felt a little bit intimidated by the kitchen. My husband does most of the cooking. So the thought of like doing all these meal plans and like all these fancy recipes, like the second I see a recipe that has 2 ingredients that I don't have in my house, which is most of them, I'm like, ooh, okay, nope, gonna try something else. So like my top tip for the lazy non-chefs like me is to keep it simple. Like I stock my freezer with the bags of frozen freezer veg. I have like the fish that I can quickly throw in the oven, pre-cooked chicken that I slice up and throw in the freezer. So bags of salad, like I lived off bags of salad for the longest time. And I have evolved from that. You know, I do a lot of like prep of my roasted veggies, especially because I'm doing gut protocol right now and it's so yummy. But Like I lived off the bag salads for a long time because it was so easy for me. I didn't have to put thought into it. And, a quick rotisserie chicken, keep it simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as complicated as you want, but it doesn't have to be. And so for me, that was a huge thing. This kind of goes hand in hand with what I just said, but my other one is always have options on hand. Like never don't have a salad in your fridge. Never don't have, easy to grab veggies, your snap peas or something, some type of protein, because when Saturday comes in and you've just gotten in the house from doing some event with the kids and you're hungry and they're eating McDonald's and there's nothing to eat, you're going to eat poorly if you have nothing available to you. So always make sure that your fridge is stocked. This is not really a tangible something that you can do, but it's just you have to force it is one of my biggest tips. Like it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be hard learning a new food program, learning a new way to eat, but it's hard feeling the way you're feeling right now, which is why you're looking to dive into this, right? So you have to force the nutrition program. And I don't think that you have to go like 100% do it to the T, but you have to do it for long enough that you can feel, like Courtney said, your baseline and feel how good you can feel it. You have to do it for 21 days because otherwise you have no idea what you're fighting for, how good you're fighting to feel, right? You can't do it for 3 days and then give up and say, oh, it didn't work for me. Okay. And then for me, something really important too was not to be too rigid in the food plan. And what I mean is that for me, I always did my containers. I started on plan D, which is like six veggies and 4 fruits and like all the protein. It was so much food and I ate it all. But there were times when, my family was having ribs or hamburgers and yeah, it's not on the lean meat food list, but I just considered it a portion and I moved on with my life and I didn't beat myself up or think I'm off plan. I just did it, like if I'm at the barbecue and there's the white hamburger bun, I can choose not to have the bun or I can have the bun and I can just call it a carb and I can move on. And the next day, I'm not going to eat the takeout. I'm not going to eat the ribs again. I'm going to go back to my lean food, but like, don't be so rigid that you feel like you are depriving yourself of everything and can't enjoy your life and can't enjoy the little things. So those would be my top 4 tips for you.
I love that. I definitely, in the beginning, I was really rigid because I was desperate to see results, but I also wasn't in a healthy mindset. So I really think that everybody is different and it depends on where you're starting, right? But, one of the biggest difference makers between like Beachbody and Peloton, for example, is the coach community. And if you're a client on this call who like doesn't even know where to start, I really encourage you to reach out with your coach and talk about your relationship with food. Like we eat, sleep, breathe this stuff with each other. And, Ashlyn said something else that I thought was really important in the beginning was like, if nobody around you is like this, like find other people that want to do, similar things like this. Like we sort of call this get in the room, right? So if there's nobody in your life that is really seeking healthy lifestyle, like maybe your spouse isn't interested or whatever, like seek out a group, join a fall sport, like do swimming lessons, do something, find some sort of hobby that can really get you in the room with other women that are looking to live a healthy lifestyle. Because I really think that can be a game changer. Doing programs in the dark, in your basement, alone, and barely, checking into a community is not the difference make. Like you've got to step out and make it a part of your lifestyle. I totally disagree with keeping it simple, and that is why everyone is different. I love choosing one recipe a week. When I was losing weight, I kept it simple, and that was my motto, 100%. But as I started to dive into my relationship with food, I realized that I needed to really enjoy what I'm putting in my mouth. I also realized I have a large sense of pride in putting something new on the table for my family and for my husband and for myself and for my business. So this is going to depend on if you love the kitchen or not. But for me, I totally thrive on one new recipe a week. And it takes more time. It takes commitment. Definitely in the, in the beginning, when you have to buy all sort of new things that you're not used to cooking with, it can take that too. But, at this point, I have a huge collection of spices and seeds and oils and sauces and different stuff like that, I've really been teaching myself a new way of cooking, and I can throw something together a lot easier than I used to. And when I think back to some of the things that I ate in the beginning of my journey, like I want to gag. One of them, notably, was for years, I did the microwavable rice. I swore by that. And now it's gag worthy. I make the most incredible brown rice. I prep it in my kitchen. I prep it on Sundays, and I have a huge thing, and it's so good. I genuinely look forward to it. Then I put it into a pan and I heat it up with some sauce and some veggies, and I genuinely enjoy that. So there's I do think that there could be the difference between where are you at in your journey? Are you depressed, struggling, and need freaking results? It's time to take massive action, right? And not focus so much on recipes and making it unique and all that kind of stuff. You need a simple plan that you can feel good and you can get some momentum and you can feel like I'm doing this and it's not so hard, But as you get years into your journey, if you're finding that you're off a lot more than you're on, it might be that you're not creating lifestyle and you need to find some new recipes and stuff. I literally flew. So we just had a retreat with some of our coaches, and my sister is the most basic cook ever. So we're planning the menu, and I was like, okay, so we'll need this, we'll need this, we'll need this. And she's like, oh, I don't know where that is. I don't even know if we have that. I don't have that. That spice is in here. So I was like, F you. I literally brought my rice from Las Vegas to Canada for the retreat. I'm like, I cannot trust you to get the proper type of brown rice. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Because we did want to keep this to 30 minutes so that it can be a good listen back, and we'll continue to do more because I think that it's really valuable. But one of the biggest messages I hope comes across is this is a lifelong journey for so many of us. Our relationship with food is ever changing, ever evolving. And we asked a question to Sarah Best near the end of the call, which was, do you still struggle with your nutrition after all the years of learning that you've done? And she said, yeah, I think I always will. That's why I'm in this field and wrote this book and do this learning and, take the time to give a shit. Because if this is something that you struggle with, it's going to require your attention, and it's going to require that lifelong process. Yeah. Does anyone want to add anything or ask any questions? I'm happy to stay on, but I also am happy to keep it to 30. Ashlyn, did you want to say anything?
I just want to say something that I heard the other day, and it was that the number on the scale or the pant size or the way that you feel like you want to look, that's not the destination. The journey is the destination, how you feel along the way. And every day, the excitement that I feel right now to wake up, to do my workout, and to feel good, and I'm going to go to bed and I know I'm going to feel good when I wake up. That's the destination for me. That's the destination. So it's worth the fight.
100%. I also feel this is so freaking ironic. We are, when are we going to stop worrying so much about changing our body shape? I worked so hard to lose so much weight, and honestly, I'm back to my normal body weight. I'm up 20 pounds from my lowest weight, but I think I'm at my resting normal weight. It was I was desperately trying to change that, but it's probably not going to change. You can white knuckle your way to change, but as soon as you relax and find your space in moderation, your body will find its resting weight again, So doing personal development on the topic and really diving into your mindset could be a big breakthrough for you, more so than just a meal plan. Yeah, exactly, Steph, right? Like, we're just like, remember when 120 was like ideal? What? Who made that up? Who made that up? Okay, guys, let's wrap it. I think these are really valuable. We'll do more again. Thank you so much, Ashlyn, and everybody who came on tonight. And we'll see you guys soon.